Welcome to all of you. Today we are going to take our next topic, fertilizers and their classification. See, any organic or inorganic material of natural or synthetic origin added to the soil to supply the certain element essential for the growth of the plant. This is known as the fertilizer, definition of fertilizer, which are added to the soil for the growth of the plant. Their classification. Okay. Amendment are the substance other than manures and the fertilizers which are added to the soils for the improvement of their soil condition. Amendments are also termed as the ameliorants and improves, but the main objective of applying them is for correcting the soil condition. There are different classifications of the fertilizer. State fertilizers. This type of fertilizers containing only one major nutrient. Example, urea and the ammonium sulfate. Give the two examples of the state fertilizers. Next is the binary fertilizers. Contain two major nutrients, potassium, nitrate. C. Ternary fertilizers contain three major nutrients. Example, ammonium, potassium, phosphate. Then complex fertilizer. This type of fertilizer contains at least two out of the major nutrients obtained. It is chemically or in granular form. Nitrophosphate, diammonium phosphate. Give the two examples. Likewise, questions asked. Mixed fertilizers. Individual or state fertilizer material are blended together physically to permit the application in the field in one operation. Sometime in 2 or 3 applications, apply nitrophosphate with potash 15s to 15s to 15 of NPK. Complete fertilizer having all three primary major nutrients NPK. Incomplete fertilizer containing any two primary nutrients. Low analysis, high analysis fertilizer. Low analysis, that is having the less than 25% of the primary nutrient. SSP 16% P2O5. Sodium nitrate 16% nitrogen. The percentage is less than 20. That's why low analysis fertilizer. Next is the high analysis fertilizers. Contains more than 25% of the total primary nutrient content. Urea, anhydrous ammonia, then ammonium phosphate, DAP, all these contain greater than 25% of the, that's why it is known as the high analysis fertilizer. Next is the fertilizer grade. It refers to the guarantee analysis of the plant nutrients and it is minimum guarantee of the plant nutrient content in the term of N-P2O5K2O 6s to 24s to 24. Next is the fertilizer ratio. It refers to the relative percentage of N-P2O5K2O 1s to 4s to 4 if fertilizer grade is 6s to 24s to 24. It is the relative percentage of N-P2O5 and K2O. Next is the fertilizers are classified on the basis of major nutrient content. Give the classification of fertilizer on the basis of major nutrient content. See, the first is the nitrogenous fertilizer. There are 4 classes under the nitrogenous fertilizers. First is nitrate fertilizer, second is ammonical fertilizer, third is nitrate ammonium fertilizer, and fourth is the amide fertilizer. Nitrate fertilizers. In this, nitrogen is in the oxide form. Example is NO3. Ammonical fertilizers. In this, nitrogen is in reduced form. Example is NH4N. Next is the nitrate and ammonium fertilizers. Example is nitrogen is in the form of NO3 and the NH4N. Amide fertilizer. Organic nitrogenous fertilizer. Nitrogen is in the amide form. These are the 4 nitrogenous fertilizers. Next is the phosphatic fertilizers. In that, water soluble, citric acid soluble, and insoluble. Or we can call it monocalcium, dicalcium, and the tricalcium phosphatic fertilizers. Next is the potassic fertilizers. The fertilizers having K in chloride form comes KCl. And the fertilizer having K in non-chloride form, that is K2SO4 and the KNO3. This is the classification of fertilizer on the basis of major nutrient content. We will see one by one. First is the nitrogenous fertilizers. In that we are going to learn the classification, manufacturing processes, properties of nitrogenous fertilizers, then their fate and the reaction. These nitrogenous classified into on the basis of the chemical form. Why they are get classified? Only on the basis of chemical form in which nitrogen is combined with the other elements. And see, first is the nitrate fertilizer. Nitrogen is in oxide form, NO3. In that, sodium nitrate and the calcium nitrate. Chemical formula NaNO3. Here, CaNO3 twice. On the basis of chemical form, this classification is there. 16% nitrogen, 55.5% nitrogen, nitrate fertilizer. Next is the ammonical fertilizer. Nitrogen is in the reduced form, NH4N. The example is the ammonium sulfate. NH4 2SO4 contain 20% nitrogen. Ammonium chloride, NH4Cl, 26% nitrogen. Anhydrous ammonia, 82% nitrogen. Ammonium phosphate, 22% N and 20% P2O5. These are the classification of ammonical fertilizers with example. Next is the nitrate and ammonium fertilizer. Nitrogen is in both form, nitrate form as well as ammonium form. Ammonium nitrate contain 34% nitrogen. Calcium ammonium nitrate contain 26% nitrogen. Ammonium sulfate nitrate contain 26% nitrogen. Next, D, that is last is the amide fertilizer. It is an organic nitrogenous type of fertilizer contain nitrogen in amide form. The example is urea, 46% nitrogen, calcium cyanamide, CaCN2, 21% nitrogen. This is the classification of nitrogenous fertilizers on the basis of chemical form. Sources of nitrogenous. There are different sources, mineral deposits, then addition through rainwater, then soil organic matter, activity of nitrogen fixing organisms, soil organic matter, and activity of nitrogen fixing organism. These are the main sources of the nitrogen, and these are the latter sources, industrial source. Okay. Now, the general characteristics of the nitrogenous fertilizers. In that, first is the nitrate fertilizers. What are the characteristics? They are obtained from both as a natural product from the salt deposits also, and also manufactured from the synthetic ammonia. See, they are quickly dissociated in the soil solution and releasing the nitrate ion. When we apply the nitrate fertilizers in soil, they get quickly dissociated and there is a production of nitrate ions. This type of fertilizers are used for top dressing as well as side dressing. We can also broadcast this type of fertilizers on the surface of the soil, but the nitrogen reaches root zone quickly when we broadcast it. On the other hand, it increases thereby losses by the leaching. This type of fertilizer easily get lost by the leaching process. They are mostly suitable for the dry region. Then they have the basic residual effect on the soil and the significant role in reducing the soil acidity. Example, sodium nitrate has a potentially basically of 29 kg of calcium carbonate per 100 kg of material. That is, when we apply 100 kg of nitrate fertilizer, we require 29 kg of calcium carbonate to recovery. Next is the ammonium fertilizer. Manufacturing is that byproduct from the coal industries and from the synthetic ammonia plants, where it is produced by combining hydrogen and nitrogen taken from the air. They are readily soluble in water. They are less rapidly utilized by the growing plant than the nitrate in comparison study. Paddy is the exceptional case. Paddy requires nitrogen in ammonium form, okay, in the early stage. Then resistance to loss by the leaching, as ammonium ions is readily absorbed on the soil colloidal complexes. That's why loss is very less. Acidic in their residual effect on the soil. Then may be used as a basal application as well as for the top dressing. This is the characteristics of ammonium fertilizers. Next is the nitrate and ammonium fertilizer. Nitrogen present in both the form. That's why the name is given nitrate and ammonium fertilizer. Radially soluble in water, then used under a variety of the soils and the cropping condition. This type of fertilizer, nitrogen, is readily available to the plant for the rapid growth, whereas the ammonium ion resists to leaching losses and can be utilized by the plant in the latter stages. Then they have the acidic residual effect on the soil and used as a top dressing or the basal application. Last is the amide fertilizer. See, this material are the carbon compound and technically classified as an organic compound. Why they are known as the organic compound? Because they contain carbon. That's why urea is a organic in nature. Radially soluble in water. Then easily decomposed by the microorganisms. Then it is quickly changed into ammonical nitrogen and then to the nitrate form. Leaching losses is very less because once amide is converted into the ammonical form, it is adsorbed on the soil colloid and slowly released as a nitrate. Then urea is a less acidic and compared to the ammonium sulfate. Okay, since application of urea, 100 kg of urea produces acidity which requires 80 kg calcium carbonate to neutralize it. This is about the characteristics of all these four nitrogenous fertilizers. Now coming towards the manufacturing processes of the nitrogenous fertilizers. In that urea is the main nitrogenous fertilizers. See, the urea is manufactured by